Okay, the next item is regarding nonpartisan elections. We've reviewed this, and it does appear that we cannot have a local law that will allow us to have nonpartisan elections. It would require a state law to do that. What we could do in this particular case is send a request to the legislature, a resolution of request to the legislature, asking that they pursue that on a statewide level, that they allow counties to make that decision for themselves. So it would have to be a state law that would be changed, but it would allow for counties to make that decision themselves as to whether they wanted to do it. It would open up for everyone in the state, but only those that chose to do it. So questions or comments on that?
So that's how the cities are set up right now?
Well, the cities are set up under different statutes as far as the election process goes. So theirs is nonpartisan by statute, whereas ours is partisan by
Yeah,
statute.
that's what I mean, so
Yeah.
at some point in time, that,
And if we chose to do this, then we would have to work with the other counties, of course, and see if we can get this moved forward. But I think there's definitely a lot of cost savings there, possible cost savings, I think. Of course, we can dive more into that if we choose to move forward.
Two ways. You can either do it as the chairman said, and you can get an act passed, proper constitutional amendment applicable to counties, all counties, or you could ask for a constitutional amendment applicable only to Jackson County. You see those, yeah, you see those on the ballot all the time. A constitutional amendment applicable, statewide vote, amendment to Butler County. We don't care what goes on in Butler County, so we just don't vote, or else we vote in favor of it. But so I mean, one of those two ways we could get it. I mean, it can be done. It just won't be as simple as maybe we thought to start with.
Okay, the next item is regarding Public Works Fund 100. This would allow us to use Fund 100 in the same functions that Fund 111 is used, which is our general Public Works Fund. The benefit of doing this is it allows us more flexibility. Currently, Fund 100 is only used for materials and equipment, and it's set up by local law on the amount that you can use for either, where we obviously the controls we need to have in place for public works and making sure we're being efficient and all. This would allow us the flexibility to move the money to pay certain roads or the way that we need it to, as opposed to right now it's very difficult from a budgeting standard in getting these things done. So this would make it more flexible. We did actually put a resolution forward last year, and it didn't make it to the floor last year due to whatever issues, but I'd like to see if we have the support, go ahead and put this to the floor again this year. This doesn't save us any dollars, it just allows for a little bit better management in public works. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, and the final item on the list is regarding a lodging surcharge. Currently, there's a 1% fee in place and a $1 fee in place on the county level, and all of that goes towards the recreation, or not recreation, but the Chamber of Commerce and the Heritage Center for Tourism, to promote tourism and bring tourism dollars in. So there have been different numbers thrown out there, but I'd like to see something small as far as a lodging surcharge, or maybe even a percentage, whatever. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily affect the folks that live in Jackson County, it affects those people that are coming in. And even if we committed a little bit of these dollars to go towards some additional tourism funding, whether it be through advertisement or whatever else for Jackson County, or the development of some more tourist type attraction, whether it be outdoor activities or whatever, I think this would be a great asset for us to have, and something that we need to look at also, especially since there are no additional fees. Questions or comments on it? On this particular one, I think what I'd like to do is set something up maybe with a couple of the hotel owners, see, get some opinions on it, some ways that would be best to implement this and get any concerns that are there to move forward with this particular one. And we can look, if you will, Mr. Porter, I know there's one for that $1 fee, a local law in place, so if we can look at that and maybe use that as a format for if we do move forward with this. Any other questions or comments on any of these? I will note, I want to make sure that I know, based on the calculations, now we don't know 100% the revenues on any of these. Of course, as we get deeper into the analysis, we may have a better view on it. Based on what we have here, if everything we've talked about tonight did pass, we would still have to make some additional cuts. And I think we've talked about that in the past, about the possibility there is still some fat that can be cut out. I say fat, there's still some things that can be cut out that we may be able to work with. But it's imperative that we do something. So to me, it's very important that all of these things be done, that we move forward with all of these things. I hope that we can do this in order to keep this county moving forward. Of course, the alternative is to cut back services if we're unable to do this. And of course, we do want citizens' input on this. I think we've tried to announce that we've been a very open commission and want the citizens to participate and tell us their thoughts on these things, share with us what's going on, and we want to share with you our reasoning for anything that is done. So definitely want to know what the thoughts of citizens are. And hopefully the citizens will also take time to listen and see the purpose of any of these things. So we look forward to some of those community meetings and seeing what the input on these items are. We do need to get this stuff in place fairly quickly, but it won't be voted on in the legislature until later on, so we do have time to get input from the community before anything does actually pass the legislative side, even if we move forward with it by resolution here. So, any other questions or comments? Okay. Move on to the next item regarding the Christmas holidays and the 2014 holidays. 2014 holidays. We did approve an extra day for Thanksgiving. I think we've done that previously. And there's been some talk of doing an additional day or two for Christmas. Currently, Christmas is on it's on a Wednesday this year. I think the state has given their employees off for the 24th, which is Christmas Eve, so I would recommend that we at least do that. And if we wanted to give the additional day of Monday, again, there's not a whole lot we can do for our employees, but this is something small that we can do, and I think that they appreciate. So any comments on the Christmas particular holiday for this year? If there's no objection, we'll place this on the agenda for next Monday night along with the 2013 Christmas holiday for approval. Okay. Next item is regarding a medical expenses budget amendment. I think I had mentioned this at the last meeting, I believe. There was an additional expense that I had missed when we were calculating the budget, and it was just under $5,000. You have that total amount. Comments on this one?
What type of medical expense, or what's this for?
Primarily, it's for drug screens, is that correct? Drug screens. Any other questions or comments?
Is this when we do random drug screens for the employees?
Random, of course, if anyone has an accident, anything like that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, if there's no objection, we'll place this on the agenda for next Monday night as well. Okay, next item regards to solid waste trucks. Mr. Widener, you want to present?
As y'all are aware, we started about 3 years ago buying new trucks for our solid waste department. Since that time, we basically bought 6 trucks in pairs. We bought 3 pairs of new trucks. Our first 2 trucks that we bought were purchased in 2010, November 2010. And at that time, they told us we got the auto loader and everything. They told us that these last about 3 years. So we've been kind of aware of this coming up. Our arms on these first trucks, and I've got pictures of them there that I laid on the table. I apologize, just had one copy of it. I told the printer messed up. But the bearings and the bushings and all that stuff's coming in more out of them. And to be honest with you, this is the first time we're going to deal with this, and we didn't include it in maintenance when we was adding up those numbers when we had a budget meeting. These arms are going to cost about $5,500 a piece to rebuild.
We don't have any money in solid waste for maintenance and repair.
We do have funds available.
We have,
That's what this
we
is.
have several thousand, $70,000 that line for maintenance. We figured it close, so most of that retired. We're okay right now.
I say you take it out of it from the get-go, and then let's amend down the road.
Down the road,
Uh,
that's
That's just my opinion.
I agree, yeah.
I think that's,
You've got a fund that counts, so let's use it.
let's see what our.
Let's see where we're at then.
That's what I actually talked about.
Alright, move on to the next item regarding the railroad crossings. I think, Mr. Porter, you presented to us information on this last week. You've had time to review this, Mr. Wagner.
Yes, sir, I actually spoke to Aldott and, we went and visited the one in Woodville and also with the one in Stevenson. This is, this project is, Aldott has been able to secure some, specific federal money for these jobs, and it's, just to recall, it's County Road 500, up at, Woodville, and County Road, 169, near Stevenson. What they're planning on doing is putting up signs, striping, legends off there with the RR to put on the roadways and stuff like that, and then they're putting up no Tyson signs and stop bars. That's the part I'm going to do, and that's the part they're asking us to accept, take care of the maintenance on. So it's not going to be a big expense as far as maintenance goes, probably years away. The railroad, Aldot's doing this agreement will be with us. And that Aldot's also doing a separate agreement with the railroad. They're going to be putting up the flashing lights, the gates, the crossbucks that go on top of the flashing lights, and all of that. Their agreement with the railroad is they're responsible for those items on their right of way. That would be my concern about them asking us about be responsible for maintenance items that's on the railroad right of way. But we've always had sometimes issues with actually doing work on the railroad driveway, so it's very minimal.
Questions or comments on this?
Do we have a list of what it is? They've got a short list here of signs, markings, and legends. Is that defined somewhere that you know of?
Yes, signs marking, yes, that's defined in Alabama, transportation spectrum.
Okay, good.
You had a layout too of.
Yeah, I've got a couple sets of plans for it, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's clear that we're not taking responsibility for flashing lights and the cross arms and all that.
Yeah, that's what I want to make sure, and Aldott assured me that, and I'd like you to, of course, the contract, you know, this says signs, marking, and regulations, that's not anything to do with flashing lights or gates.
Good.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, if there's no objection, then we'll place this on the meeting for next Monday night. Entertain a motion